A good friend of mine and I were talking about this a couple of days ago, and she had a really great way of looking at it. And I told her I'm going to use that because it's really the lower vibrations, we call them, just lower numbers, smaller numbers, whatever. So shame is the lowest, it's 20. And so if you're in shame, you're pretty much vibrating at the lowest vibration that you can as a human being. And all of us have felt that. I lived in shame for many, many years. And, you think that when you get to um, desire, which is, 125, shame is 20. So when you're at desire, you're pretty much a lot higher than shame. So it's so interesting how you can live in this zone and you don't even realize that there's anything else, because that's how we operate as sentient beings. We operate within the parameters that we've been given, and we're not really taught to reach outside of those parameters. The society doesn't teach us that. We're really basically taught to operate in this really small zone of frequencies. And so the cool part about this is when you're in those lower frequencies, and as I said, I was feeling like that earlier today. And being human, we're going to be dipping down there sometimes. And that's your healing space. When these lower frequencies are hitting you and like I said, I got into desire and my ego really wanted to do the live video, and my pride really wanted to make sure I was being professional. But that was my space where I could choose to let it go and heal that picture or issue or whatever you want to call it, pattern, or I could stay in it and continue to work on it some more, because there is absolutely 100% guarantee that that is going to continue coming up for me until I heal it. So I'll get lots of chances. And there's no right or wrong. Everybody goes at their own pace. And, be nice to yourself in that space, because judging yourself is plummeting you back down into shame. And so you don't want to start that cycle. I mean, it's enough that we have to deal with all these external factors, but make sure that you're your own best champion, because who else do you really have that's going to be there with you every second of every day, and know who you are, and from the inside out you can do your healing. So more on that later. So basically, then when you get up to neutrality, which is 250, then that's the point where you can start to build into personal growth. And so um, beneath neutrality is your healing space. And it's your space where a lot of your pictures will come up, and pain and suffering and ego and all of those things. And after neutrality, you start moving into willingness, acceptance, reason, and love. And then you have joy, peace, and enlightenment. And so those things are 100% attainable. At the same time, you have to finish your healing first. And so, what I've noticed in a lot of communities where we have these spiritual practices, and people, and I thought this for a long time, that neutrality was the top. Like, if you get to neutrality and you're not getting triggered and you're like feeling pretty, you know, copacetic, I'd say, then that's neutrality. And I always thought that was where I would end up. I didn't, when I saw this Hawkins scale, I was kind of blown away, because it really challenged me. And I realized, like, I've got a whole new space to open up into. And so I found it really encouraging, because I've been feeling like I've been hitting neutrality and popping into some of the higher realms, but I didn't really know how that factored in. And so now it's nice for me to have something that I can look at that's finite, that I can say, okay, I've grown, and validate myself. Because validating yourself is really where it's at, let me tell you. Having other people validate you is nice, but when you can really feel like within yourself, hey, I got this, I'm doing all right. Um, that's the point where you're like golden. So healing space, growing space. That's it. Okay. And really, there's not any sort of if you're in competition, then you're in judgment, and then guess what? Shame. So I don't want that, and really it's a pretty difficult space to be. And the planet doesn't seem to be supporting it. Like it's pushing a lot of that lower vibrational stuff off because it's not serving us and it's not serving the planet. So, um, the first thing that I would like to talk about is frequencies. Since we're already talking about vibrational frequencies, let's just go right into that. So, frequencies are music, right? So, music and frequencies are that's what makes up the songs that we like. And there is something called hertz, and these are numbers that correlate almost directly with the chart. And 528 hertz is the love frequency. And I've been experimenting with playing the love frequency all day in my office, and above, like 528 and above. Like I think the other day I was playing 963. And I can tell when I'm having kind of a day where I'm feeling kind of, like today. If I play those frequencies, it helps to lift me out a little bit, and it helps. And if I sit and meditate with that stuff playing, it's really, really helps. It helps me to clear a lot of the lower frequencies, and it's just a really easy way. I just go on YouTube and type in, 528 hertz, and you can play it while you're sleeping. If it depends, if we've been turning off our router at night because I'm trying to work with decreasing the EMFs in the house. But um, there's also whole tones. I don't know if you've heard of that, but whole tones is 7 different frequencies, and it's they have DVDs and there's a whole website, and they're really, really healing frequencies. And so then, of course, there's music that you make, and I'm such a weirdo. Like, the other morning I got up and I was letting the cats out and doing my morning routine, and I opened the door and there was a doe and a fawn standing outside in the yard. And we live in a fairly populated area, so it's kind of unusual to see that, although not totally unusual. But I they both looked at me and their ears were, big, and um, I just kind of spoke softly and said, "Hey, how's it going?" And I mean, I didn't know what to say. What do you say to a deer? How's it hanging? I don't know. Um, but I just felt like this presence of serenity, and it just I don't know why, but I just started singing to the deer, and the fawn was eating, didn't really care, but the doe looked at me kind of like, what's that noise? And, and then I just went back inside and they finished what they were doing and went along their way. And then I saw him again the next day. And I didn't sing to him that day, but singing and making your own music is very healing because that's opening up your fifth chakra, and that's expressing yourself, and that's using frequencies from the inside out. So that's very powerful. Making your own music, drumming, anything. It doesn't have to be vocal. Drumming opens up your hand chakras and clears your creative channels, and it's a really good way to give yourself a healing. So frequencies and music is a really great way to raise your vibration. That's the first, and I'll post a couple of links under the video, and I've got a Spotify playlist that I'm happy to share with anybody that wants it if you ask me, and I'll send it to you. It's just my high vibrational playlist. It's songs that I've compiled that inspire me and have a good message, and most of them are about loving yourself and having fun. And whenever I'm feeling kind of I play those and they help me, and I really enjoy that kind of stuff. So let me know if anyone's interested in that, and I'll post it.